s02e05, the Autumn Splendor that we've been working on, and I just want to verify that I'm up and running here real quick. We'll get right back into it here in a moment. What's going on over here, yo? Let's make this happen. Just want to see that the channel is working because it says I'm offline. There we go. Okay, groovy. So we got that all in check. Got Bob Ross kicking. We're in the Photoshop, episode 2, episode 5, Autumn Splendor. Let's just jump back into it. Well, actually, looking at this, so we got the ground here, the embankment that we created. We got some cool little fuzzy action going on in here. I'm liking how that looks a lot. I was just coming in here, and right before the stream started, I was just coming in here and taking a close look at this tarmac that we created here. Tarmac. I like that word a lot. I don't know why. I blame the Moody Blues. That must be where I got my enjoyment of the word tarmac from. Days of Future Past. And I like how this texture breaks up here. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm going to scrape at it a little bit regardless. Just using the cloud smudging tool with a reduced width, taking off the spacing and rotating it so that the terrain matches up. The angle matches better to the terrain that I'm working on. Here. I don't want to fidget with it too much because it's a small detail that's going to end up getting lost in the sauce, I suspect. But I just wanted to attend to it because I was just appreciating it. So I wanted to take a moment here to futz with it just a little bit longer on camera here before we broke out and moved into the new. So let's see. It looks pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with that. All right, let's see the new. He's brushing that. I saw that. Okay, we're bringing this stuff in. Saw that. Yellow ochre. Cadmium yellow ochre. No fun. Okay. Wait a second. That's pretty fun. Bam. Perfect. Okay, that's a good shot. So we come in here, we're going to grab color sampling again. Samples. There. This is a foreground brush that we're working on. So we're going to come in here, we're going to drop the color sample over here into our sidebar. Come back down here and here, open up a new layer. Let's take a look at these highlights. Very high. That again. Neat. Okay. So let's see. We're going to come through with new brush that we're working on here. We're going to go with yeah, we'll go with this guy. Making sure we got the darker first. So we come in, we'll tap that in. I'm switching to an eraser tool. It's a scatter. 100%. New layer. Over the higher light over it. tap in and then you erase out. Which another area, switch up the color. The only reason I can pick that out is because I knew where I drew it, so I can't really see those colors so very well. But I can see that there's a dark block, so that helps. I can go in here. There, we'll just call that like that, and we'll switch up the color before I lose track of it. Make sure I stay focused on it here. Switching our angles, make sure we keep the brush moving in the direction it's supposed to grow. Tilting it. There we go. That looks good. Come back through again with another bush. Back to our layer, put in the highlights. Just tapping those in at different angles to give the plant the directions of growth. There we go. All right, boss, what's next?
I thought today we'd use a fan.
Cool. Cool. Okay, we got two things going on here. We got the highlights on the exposed soil, and then we got the mossy grass that's growing over it. So let's tend to both of those. Drop in our colors, and I'm going to play with highlights first. Pan back. I'll come back to the terrain chalk that I use here. We'll reduce the width a bit. Just gonna pepper this in here real quick. Go back to the same tools and eraser, tip it up on its end a bit. Nice, I'm liking that. Alright, so I put down some mess, and then we'll come back through. Got the cloud tool here at 100%. Actually going to switch up. Let's see what happens when I use this mountain terrain. Come on, button, grab that handle. Thank you. Bring that down here. Nope. Now I use the spacing button. Get rid of that stuff. Thank you. So I'm just gonna dance this guy around a little bit. Just push it on. See it. The slope is like this. That's why I have actually towards there. It's like this. That's why I have that angle there, and it's at 100%. So it's pushing the pixels instead of actually smudging them. So I can come in here and I can push this wad around and break it up. Change my angle as I move further back. Make sure I keep the lay of the land so that the angle of slope remains consistent. So you can tell that it's taking that bend there. It actually looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. It's a little rough because it's got a lot of shrivels and going on inside of here that I want to clean up. But the initial kick of it is pretty good. So I'm just going to come in and scrape at it a little bit here, and it'll come through, and I will adjust it accordingly. So let's see this angle here. So looking at the lay, I'm going to drop this down a little bit. There we go. Make sure that I'm just paying attention to how the slopes of the embankment are sitting. Like this one needs to tilt out because it's a lower bank, and I'm closer to the camera, so I'm changing the angle there. I'm going to change the angle here. I'm going to increase the size a bit since it's closer. There, I can break that up like that. I can tilt this here and widen it a bit as I get closer and facing the camera more. And tilt that again back. There we go. Nice. I don't want to get too crazy. It's supposed to be highlights. It's like I'm laying down a whole new layer of terrain. That's not really what I'm intending to do. So we're done with that, and we're going to come back with the actual terrain. We're going to stick with the cloud smudge. I'm going to shrink it a bit, tilt it down. I'm going to drop the opacity down to about 60 something, and I'm going to reduce the size. I'm just gonna I'm smudging across at an angle that's perpendicular to the angle of the embankment. I don't want to lose that back there. There's no need for that, but I do want to break this stuff up a bit so that it's just so it looks a little less pixely, which is what I'm usually attempting to do here, is eliminate the artifacts from the brush strokes. Artifacts, again, it's just an art. It's a digital art term. I think it's probably relevant elsewhere, but basically it's indication, just like in anthropology and archaeology. It's indication. It's evidence of the tools being present. That's what artifacts are. When you're talking about Photoshop techniques and you're talking about there's artifacts, it means that it is unintentionally revealing brushstrokes to the audience. Generally, it's an indication of incompletion. But with this particular technique, that looks freaking great. I love how this stuff works. I like that. That's really good. Fun. Sorry, geeking out over here over the over the results that I'm getting. It's so freaking cool. And that's the difference. It's I've worked this so that it looks the way that I want it to. It's not an accident per se. It's just I've removed the brush strokes. I've used the brush strokes that I've allowed to remain to complement the illusion that I want your eye to create when it looks at this. 'Cause I'm not focusing on intimate details and master planning where all the shadow and nooks and crannies of this terrain are at. I am working the paint so that when your eye looks at it, it automatically translates for you. This is an embankment on the side of water. So I don't have to go into the painful details to prove to your eye what it is that we're looking at. I need to produce an environment where your eye will create those results for you, which I'm thinking here is just like a reason why there's so little man-made interaction in these scenes that he's produced, because the method the method of the the method of the art is, hold on real quick, I'm doing a color check. Sometimes I throw a brush stroke in there occasionally, just out of reflex when I feel like I want to have a better fill, and I don't always pay attention to the color that I'm using. And since I can't tell what the color is just by looking at it, then I have to do a double check with my color picker on occasion. When I get overly zealous about working on an area, I'll just reflexively tap a brush stroke, a brush tool, highlight, because I'm using the keyboard. I'm tapping all these hotkeys to switch between erase and blur and brush and highlight. And so when I'm working on a piece, I'll just tap at different hotkeys to switch the tool that I'm using mid-stroke. Often mixing blur, erase, brush stroke together, and sometimes I just won't pay attention to which what colors am I using, and what should I or should I not be using brush. So that's something I have to pay attention to. But I am just as happy as a clam with that effect. So I'm going to hit save. I'm going to grab a sip of water here. And now I have the embankments down. I'm going to add another layer and come down here and grab these colors that he was playing with. I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do an undercoat. An undercoating of one, and then I'll go over to the color of the other one. So I'm going to use this, which is my older, one of my more original brushes that I created for grass, just like this. So I'll change. It's got a little bit of a curve to it, and I'm squeezing it so it has. Let's see. Here's its full curve, and then here's a much more mild curve. So I'm going to keep a moderate curve and drop down the size. I come through here. Let's get the spacing tool on. I don't want that, so I'm going to come in here. I am stippling. I'm stippling this into place here. Further back here, so I'm going to stipple at a different angle. There. I'm going to bring that spacing back, and that's helping with the stippling. There you go. Bring this up. Increase the angle. I'm going to increase the roundness and drop the angle, so I can come in here like that. See how far he goes. There you go. Okay. Yeah, he's doing water lines, so he's done with that area. Okay, so I can safely come in and fill in the rest of this. What I am going to do is I'm going to switch to the brush tool. I'm going to grab this, which I use which I've been using specifically to soften and sort of fluff terrain. I have to remove the spacing on it, so come in here and I use this because it's got all these tines like a brush, like a comb. So when I hit areas with this, and I use a decently high opacity, it should be like around there. It'll grab and it'll kind of fluff the. It'll fluff what I'm working on, like kind of like a cloud. It'll make it more puffy, but at the same time, it helps maintain some of the texture. So it just helps break it up a little bit. So I'm going to come in here on top of that with a new layer. There. with the same brush and erase that as well, so I can create more pockets that I can tuft. There. Tap in the eraser, and then we'll come at this. I'm going to change the angle a bit here, and I strive to move at the angle of the perpendicular to the tines, so that that creates that cross section texture, roughing things up here. I'm going to erase some of the undercoating so that the color pops out again. I'm going to tap at it with this texture brush. Yeah, that's fun. Looks good. Just about done over here. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's fun. That is fun. Okay, cool. So we'll come back over here, and we're going to shrink down the size so that this can work over on this side. Change the angle a bit to have it get over that hump. There. Roll that over so it's facing the right way. We'll come in here and rough that texture up a bit. Increase the brush size as I tap this in. And then come through with an eraser at the right angle. And then I will rough that texture up again. See, it's all a sequence of working with brushes together. There's the brush laying in the paint like this. And then I've got the eraser that's biting pieces out of it at a different frequency, if you would, than the brush stroke that's laying it in. I mean, it's the same brush, but it's at a different size and it's at different angles. So the texture that's being added is different from the texture that's being taken away. And then I'm using a different texture again to smudge the terrain, so that it is, again, it's picking up a different texture as we go. So I'll leave that in there. And then tap at it a bit to get rid of it, and then I can use the brush tool to dig into it. So here, there, not bad. Okay, and we'll come in on top of it. We'll switch up the color. Subtle difference, but it's a different layer, so it's not going to be impacting anything underneath it, which is what I want. So come through at a different angle. Pick that up a bit. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, no complaints there. So, okay, he's putting in some highlights just to make the water stand out. I can dig it. Those two together. And then over that. I don't need to grab a separate screenshot for that. I can just come in here and grab some of that. Yeah, pretty good. So we'll switch to It's the circle tool. How are we doing on time? Yeah, okay. We're about at the halfway mark. So we're going to come in here and use this cloud brush tool again. Spacing. I'm holding down the. Poke at it a bit. And hold down the shift button and pull side to side. When I hold down the shift button, it forces it to be a straight line. So here. Lighter than what it's offering here. A lot lighter, actually. Almost done. Good. There we go. That'll do. Okay. That'll do. Hit save there. Grab a sip real quick. Let's see where he's going here, just real quick, just to see what we can see. Oh, okay. Nice. Okay, we're going to call it there. We can pick up on this. Back it up. Oh, cool. So we're going to pick it up here now.